Hey guys, this is Cholo in China. What's up? Today we're gonna talk about a little subject that I've been pedaling around, in my head for a few years already, and it's been a subject about, those guys that come in the restaurant and they come and they think they know a lot of things, and they have an aura, an energy, big energy about food, and they know everything, and they, at the end of the day, they have no clue, and they have no idea of what is what, or what are we doing, or are they eating properly. Well, today we're gonna talk about foodies. It's not a rant, okay? It's not a rant. It's what I think about them, or what I think they are, okay? Most likely. No, not really ranting or putting anybody down about food. So, by definition, a foodie is a guy who is, or a girl, a person who likes food and doesn't have a necessity, basically, right? They are actually eating food as a hobby, correct? And as a hobby, they probably have good earnings. They probably travel, maybe, and they have a liking to different kind of taste or finding out new food. So they say, all right? So that's what I think they are. Like people who like to travel, who like to taste different kinds of food, different cultures, and come to know the culture by their food, which is a great way to know any country or any language, because you get to know their culture through food, and food speaks more than anything else about that certain country that you're visiting or tasting. So how do I recognize a foodie? I personally think that a foodie is a person who has traveled a lot, who has gone to different countries, but not to the touristy places. You know what I mean? Not to the touristy places, to the little mama and papa shops, the people, the restaurants where people from that country eat, workers, office workers, whatever, whatnot. And then if they had the money, the moolah, to go to the higher end kind of restaurants in those countries as well. Why I say this, like what the people from the country, because that's the closest I think you can get to somebody's culture, to see what they eat in a daily basis, in a everyday kind of scenario. And for me, that's like a must. If I go to a country, I like to go to the markets and I like to see what are the ingredients they're using, because they're so different. Only going to Southeast Asia, you go to Vietnam, you go to Thailand, and you see the markets, and they're so beautiful and they're so full of colors and flavors and smells. And you see, oh look, they use a lot of galangal, and then you see the chilies they have, and the aromas from the seafood, and what kind of pork they use, how they cut them, and the different kinds of cuts. The same thing if you go to South America, you're gonna see, in the markets, well, from my country, at least in Peru, you're gonna see a variety of chilies, potatoes, 4,000 kinds of potatoes in the whole country. Imagine in a market you probably find 5, 6, 7 kinds of potatoes, and maybe if somebody specializes in potatoes, you probably find up to 10, maybe. Chilies, as like I said before, fruits from the jungle, the highlands, the coast, fish, seafood. Amazing places to go, but these are the places that you must go to visit and see what kind of ingredients they play around. Also, a foodie, I think, is not so much about judging about the flavor, but trying to understand why they eat like that. Why the people from that country specifically eat this kind of flavor. Why they like it. How come it became that kind of flavor. Who's your influence, because many countries have been influenced by other cultures. Like, take Thailand, for example. The banh mi was influenced by the French, the baguette. Like, who would you think that you will find baguette in oh my god, look at that word, Southeast Asia. That's the hardest word for a Latino to say. Southeast Asia. And and I think it's like a clear reference of like a cultural fusion, you know. So if you don't know that the French came, you will find like how come they copy the French, you know. No, it's not that they copy, it's like the influence came in there and they started using those ingredients or those kind of like bread to make their own sandwiches, and it has nothing to do with the bread or the sandwiches they do in France, but it came to be because of, claro, the great influence they had. Same thing with like Spain coming to the Philippines, and you have the dishes that have the name in Spanish because I recognize the name, you know, like adobo, lechon, chicharrón, you know, caldereta. All these names are in Spanish, you know, and they are adapted to the Philippine culture, and they became a reference of their gastronomy. So think about it, like all these beautiful things that merged into a one in each country are so interesting to know, because through those dishes and flavors you're understanding their history as well, and how they became a nation and how they became a gastronomy. So I think a foodie should and must do that as a hobby, because that's the whole interesting part of being a foodie. I think there's a big confusion, you know. I say I love to eat, I go to many restaurants, so I consider myself a foodie. No, that means you have money and you like to eat, period. That's good, that's a great start. But I think like everybody who starts like that, you should start humble and, you know, learning things and understanding techniques and why he decided to serve here, asking questions, being humble, you know, not being like, oh, I know everything, I eat here, I eat in you know, in this place I eat in the 3-star Michelin stuff. Like, but do you understand why are they doing these things? Do you understand really why are they doing the 17-step courses menu, you know, tasting menu? Why is he doing it like that? Why is he deciding to end with like a super salty instead of a sweet one, you know, like, because chefs go through many transitions and phases during their lives, and they start experimenting and developing and evolving, you know. So I think that to call yourself a foodie, it should take a few years, you know, trying to understand food as it is, not as I eat expensive, therefore I'm a foodie. No, señor, no, señorita, not like that. You have to understand the food. The food doesn't have to understand. Remember that? The girl to say, don't love your job, job your love. My God, it's so stupid. Okay, look, start again. I get angry, man. People make me angry. Okay, foodies, start like in a modest way, in a humble way, you know, like food is humbling. Food is to feed yourself, to put nutrients inside your body, right? Okay, now we put that apart because it's not a necessity, it's easy, we can eat from anywhere. Okay, now that I want to get into food, into eating outside and understanding cultures, and that's the whole point, right, of eating. Or you just want to show off that you can purchase a N5 Wagyu, whatever, and you know, and just show off that you can eat those kind of foods, then I'm sorry to tell you, that doesn't count at all to me. That doesn't mean nothing to me, because chefs can cook the most expensive meat or the cheapest cut and make it delicious. But do you understand what's the story behind how, you know? Snap you. Look, man, understand food. Don't just eat to eat. Understand it, okay? You're gonna make our lives a lot easier. Really. We'll be more than glad to answer your questions, explain, tell you, you know, guide you through things so you can understand. Just to show off is not a good enough reason to pretend that you're a foodie. To me, never. Listen, this whole thing, this whole rant is me telling you what I think, not what everybody thinks. What I think, okay? I've been a chef for 17, 18 years almost. I think I understand a little bit of the industry. I've been here for a long time, 15 years in Shanghai. So I think I understand a little bit of what I'm talking about. And for the guys that are like foodies, constant customers that enjoy certain chefs, certain kind of food or certain kind of stuff, I would say that they're like probably the biggest supporters of chefs in the industry. When you find a guy who likes food, who has a few chefs that he enjoys following, and they kind of understands what they're cooking and what they're trying to express through their food or what trying to show you, I think is the best way for chefs to promote themselves, to more people coming to you and seeing what you're doing. They are extremely helpful for F&B, food and beverage, F&B. And they bring a lot of people to you because they want to show what they're trying to, they want to share, you know what I mean? They want to share a table and they want to share, like, I met this chef cooks amazing food and I want to show you, I want to share this with you guys so you can experience what I've been experiencing, and it's they're very good customers and we like them, It's not that I am against foodies, not at all. I just don't like people that just do it to show off. I don't mean stop eating, no. I mean, like, give yourself a little reason why you're doing this, not just empty money spending reasons. Have a little value to what you're doing, Not many people have the access that you have, man. You're lucky, very lucky. And like an example of one time I had a so-called foodie, not Chinese. It was from one of the countries in the, on the other side of the world. And this person came on a brunch and asked, "Hey, can I have a egg Benedict? Egg Benedict, poached egg, Hollandaise sauce. Can I have an egg Benedict with no egg yolk inside the poached egg?" And I'm like, how am I gonna poach an egg and take out the egg yolk, right? But I assume that by doing that means that you don't want the Hollandaise sauce, because the Hollandaise sauce base is egg yolk, right? But the person said, no, the Hollandaise sauce is fine, I just don't want the egg yolk. I'm like, damn, you got me. I have to come up with something. So yes, I went in the kitchen, I overcooked the poached egg until it became solid. So I took out the egg yolk, I put a pure white egg white and drenched it with Hollandaise. And the person was happy, but I'm like, you know what it does to me? It's like a dagger going slowly. So yes, learn, think, eat. Don't just go talking with those friends. Learn a little bit of cooking, learn a bit of the techniques that we use, so you can have a conversation. And you're gonna go through life, little by little, that you're learning about food and learning about how people do things, and you're gonna have more information to share and talk about back to back. For everything, every hobby that we take in, we learn from zero and we start getting better, right? You don't start by, for example, bowling. I love bowling. I started with the house bowls, and then little by little I started learning. Then I bought my own bowl, and then I started, learning the lingo. What are they talking about? Oil, whatever, So little by little, during the 2 years that I've been playing, I learned a lot. But I had to start from zero and really research about ball, the lane, the oil, the technique, the wrist, everything. So we go like that in everything in life, like you learn something from zero, and then you start continuing, you get into researching and finding out and discovering new things. So I think that's the best part of being a hobbyist, and a food especially, because food has such a vast quantity of things to learn that I think is impossible to ever end, there's no limits. So mind what you're saying, pay attention to what the chefs are doing, because it's a really hard job. And remember, the people behind the kitchen are also parents, also sons, daughters, and they work so hard and they don't earn as much as you do. And they spend 12 hours, 10 hours a day or more, cooking food, prepping food so they can, survive and live a decent life. So that's all I have to say for today. Thank you so much for attending. Cheers, loves, peace. Hey, if you like this kind of content, I have many more stories from myself and other chefs. They're coming up. Give me a like, follow me, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your comments. Ask me questions. I'm an open book. Kisses.